actually be ready. One
Are we saying
take.
okay, guys? Hey guys? Are we saying hey guys?
We're saying what we always say.
Saying hey guys or just
You
welcome
question
back?
this on the season finale.
I'm just asking.
Welcome back to one of our Bonfire Beer reviews. I'm keeping all that in, by the way. Okay, so welcome to our season finale, episode 15 of Bonfire Beer Review. It feels weird because last year when we started this series and kind of like birthed the idea of doing what we love, sitting by a fire, talking, spending time together, and drinking craft beer, we turned it into a series on the Beerbelliedtravelers channel, and we're deciding this year, 2019, to do 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall.
We actually do have 4 seasons.
Yeah, so well, a lot of states don't. That's why I'm pointing it out.
Sometimes it seems like we don't. It seems like winter.
We only have winter.
Well, winter.
Winter, yeah. It does feel that way because winter takes up 5 to 6 months of the year, and by winter we kind of usually just say we have snow or it's cold. Like right now, it actually isn't super cold. It's like 30 degrees right now.
Yeah, it feels like a heat wave.
We just ended the polar vortex that affected not just Michigan but many states in the U.S. One way or the other. So it's been sub-zero temperatures, and now it's like the opposite, which is a little scary when you think about how much snow we have. We have anywhere between 2 and 3 feet of feet of snow. Not so much right now. It already has kind of compacted and gotten down. It's actually, there's a mist happening right now because of the snow starting to melt. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
It's kind of a foggy,
It's a foggy, misty day.
Yeah.
It's been overcast all day today.
The air's warmer than the ground, and so it's kind of
creating a weird
thing.
effect, yeah.
But
in this episode, we're going to cover a couple of things. We're going to talk about kind of a recap of this season, season 1 of Bonfire Beer Review. Talk about a couple of special videos we had if you have missed it, or if you didn't watch every episode, or if you're just finding us now and you're like, darn, it's ending. Well, don't be worried, okay? We have a Bonfire Beer Review playlist. You can go watch all of them.
Yeah.
We do. I made a whole playlist just for Bonfire Beer Review.
Absolutely.
And that was a new thing, because it used to be I had a playlist specifically for craft beer, which is stupid, because every video has craft beer in it pretty much.
Usually.
Yeah, so I switched up and reorganized our playlist. I spent a couple hours the other day doing that, so you can specifically find this series in its own playlist.
Yep.
Okay, so we have 2 beers today. I was really going back and forth with which beers we should do. I feel like there's some pressure on having important beers or, you know, sought after beers in a finale, but we ended up just doing 2 beers that are Michigan. And there's a reason why. I have a good segue as to why we chose these. So let's get into the beer, and then we can kind of casually talk about everything else we are planning to talk about while drinking. So you're going to do your beer first. Okay, so we usually have Dana go first, and we're not going to switch it up on our finale, so go ahead and babe and tell us about your beer.
Alright, mine is from trippelroot, also known as Zealand Brewing. It's called Pure Mackinaw, a nod to the Pure Michigan
They use the same
campaign,
font from the campaign.
Same font and everything.
Really cool.
This brewery is located in Zeeland, Michigan, right outside of Holland. It was opened in 2016. The big thing about this brewery that I want to talk about, first of all, the 2 name thing. We think that it was probably a winery, or they made wine first and then they wanted to switch into brewing, so they have 2 names.
Kind of, yeah.
Trippelroot to nod towards the wine, and then Zealand Brewing for the brew.
Because their website is trippelroot, and then if you go on Untap and you try to pull it up, it actually shows both names. And then even on the can, it's like the fine print is Zealand Brewing, but it very obviously has their logo for trippelroot at the top of the can.
So here's what I like about this brewery, without even taking a taste of the beer. Everything about them is centered around one idea. And the cool thing about it, right at the top of the can, it says sustainable. And that's the whole idea of the brewery. Everything in there is sustainable, recyclable, compostable. Everything is kind of used or repurposed from something else. The front door is from an old country club that closed down. The to-go boxes are all compostable.
100%.
Their growlers are stainless steel, not glass. They make an effort to have a very down-to-earth, recyclable, sustainable atmosphere inside of their brewery. They've got a farm table that's set up in the middle so that everybody can get to know each other. They said something about their TV being behind barn doors. I think that means they don't really have a TV. We've not been to this brewery yet.
No, we actually have never had this beer either, of anything from them. But they're actually housed inside of a 100-year-old building that was abandoned for 10 years. So they repurposed it. And then
repurposed it and reclaimed it.
Yeah, and didn't they use reclaimed items from a barn?
Yeah, old barn wood.
From the local area.
You know, old roofing.
The metal siding.
Metal siding, just different things.
I really want to go after reading all that.
Is repurposed and recycled, and I think that's fantastic.
What's their whole, like, we believe in the rule of 3 thing? Do you remember that?
They believe in the rule of 3, meaning that, I don't remember
Or we like things to come in 3s.
They're obviously triple root being their context, but even their tables have 3 legs without wobble. And I don't know if that's a sexual reference or not.
He thought it was when I first read it.
Because it sounds a little dirty.
I don't know if it is or not, but it's kind of funny. I think it almost, when I read it, I almost used the voice of Ron Swanson. With the woodworking and, like, even our tables have 3 legs. No wobble.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
I don't know anyway. But cool brewery. It's a double IPA I'm drinking. 8.4 ABV
70
with about
IBUs,
70 IBUs.
Which is low for a double IPA.
Yep, low, but when I opened it, it's very fruity, very fragrant, and I can smell it from here without even giving it a nose. So.
Yep. And the Mighty Mac is right on the front of the can. It's really cool. It's like a silhouette, but it's like a blue, a Michigan blue, if you will. And then also they're using mackinaw hops, which, contrary to what your belief would be hearing that, no, they're not grown on Mackinac, in Mackinac City or Mackinac Island, which is initially when I first said that, what Dana actually thought. But they're grown in West Michigan, specifically the Grand Rapids area. They're just a strand of hop that they are naming belovedly Mackinac hops.
So that's exciting. Anytime there's a new hops invented or created, I'm always up for it.
It's interesting.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Being a hop head that I am.
Yeah, so he can't read the can, so I will read it because I read it earlier and it's really funny. But without his glasses and with the lack of, which is going to be hard for me as well, but I really want to read this. Okay, so it says, brewed with Mackinaw hops, developed and grown in West Michigan, this beer is a tribute to the bridge that has brought our beautiful state together for over 60 years. If you love the UP, which is a slang for the UP, we call the people who live there Youpers, so the UP. The Mighty Mac, or simply a good Michigan craft beer, this perfectly balanced double IPA was brewed just for you. So, pretty cool. For those of you who have never been to Michigan or who just know that we're the state that looks like a mitten and has a lot of lakes, our state is divided between 2 peninsulas that are not connected, technically. We connect them with the Mackinac Bridge. So, that's kind of what that reference is. I feel because I live here, I don't think about it. There are people who don't know that.
Probably true, yeah.
Okay, so get into your nose and...
I'm going to get my nose in there. Get on in there. Yep, exactly. Fruity, fragrant, just wonderful citrus smells coming out of this glass. And peach, I think.
I didn't pay attention when you poured it. Was it active carbonation?
It was pretty active. It was a pretty active carbonation.
It's like a...
it's cold right now, and the can was somewhat warm. Room temperature, so
the can was about 50 degrees, which is the beer closet temperature.
Our regulated beer closet, yes.
It kind of is, especially during winter. It kind of is.
It's always cold.
It is. I almost drank it first, just so you know. It because it smells good. It smells like tropical
smells wonderful,
torpedo.
right?
I haven't said that in a long time because now I like IPAs. I actually can say that I like them. I don't assume I'm going to hate it now. I'm open-minded.
It's amazing.
Is it?
Amazing.
Is it?
Smooth. Like the fragrance is there, and it tastes exactly like it smells. Really fruity,
That's
juicy,
amazing.
really juicy.
Wow.
Smooth, just creamy.
Well done,
delicious. I mean, I don't know what the rest of their beers are like, but that makes me want to go there even more.
I know. And did you mention that they're actually a tap house?
Yeah, they have about 30, I think looks like about 30 beers on tap.
At least that's what's listed online. And they don't just serve their own beers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is kind of cool, because usually, I don't know, I go both ways. I like to go to gastropubs that have craft beer, thus having 30 taps or so. But when you go to a brewery, you kind of only expect to have their beer, and for the people who work there to be invested and knowledgeable on their beer and their brand message. But it is cool to have more options. Cause like,
I like the tap house idea.
Yeah.
Paddle Hard is a
as
good
a tap
example.
house, yeah.
Like,
And then also Down There is a good example
Yep.
of it. What's that one? 7 Monks in Grand Rapids. There's
Yeah.
more than just Grand Rapids location.
so we've
but
gone
7
to a
Monks.
few that are like that, and
Yeah.
we enjoyed ourselves because you get such a variety.
Plus, sometimes
A
you
lot
go
of
to
times the
these-
tap houses will show beers that are pretty regular beers for everybody
Yeah.
else, so we most of the time have had them.
Yeah, which is a bummer because when we go to a brewery, we expect to get a full tasting and a full review of them. And then we return to breweries that we got a good impression from and that we like their beers enough and the environment and the food and everything else that we go back over and over
Yeah.
again. But there are some times where we go to a brewery and we don't ever feel the need to go back, but we still enjoy their beer bought in stores. But when you go to a small microbrewery, especially one that's only been open for going on 3 years, this April will be their 3-year anniversary of being open. If they don't have a lot of beers and you don't like them, it's hard to want to go back. Whereas if they have other beers that people already know and love, you're more prone to go back and give their new beers and seasonal rotation beers a shot because you're going back for the food, the atmosphere, and beer in general. So it's kind of smart.
It is.
I think it's safe for new
And
breweries.
for us, Holland is our backyard. We love Holland.
Well, not anymore, but it was.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like we know them.
Yeah.
That's our play area, so
Yeah, we
we
go
will
there for the beach.
definitely go check them out.
We have to. We have to.
That's a delicious beer. Well done. Well done.
Okay, so my beer, and I know this is going to be a chatty episode, so I really hope that I remember to live premiere it because it's a finale, so it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
And I'll have to premiere it later so that you can be here for it.
Yes.
Yeah, because when I do like a 5 or 5:30 premiere, he's just getting home or not home yet if he happens to be opening that day at work. So I'm doing Arbor Brewing Company Mackinaw Island Fudge Stout. Stout brewed with fudge from Mackinaw Island.
Sounds cool.
Really cool. I feel like when I first saw this, I couldn't recall if I had tried it or not, but we recently have done, I believe, 1 or 2 beers from Arbor Brewing. We did the Jackhammer Ale.
Yep.
And there was another one we did by them, but I don't remember the name.
We did 2 of them, and I think the first
I
one
think
was
we-
okay. The second one was like, eh.
Well, no, the Jackhammer you only thought was because you only got 3 sips of it because I was winning Say Anything. It was a Say
That's
Anything
true,
challenge.
yeah. That's right.
So I got more of it than you did. So this is actually brewed in Ypsilanti, not Ann Arbor, which is always what I think of when I hear this. I don't know any specs about it.
That's all right. I'm going to throw some more wood on while you grab some specs.
Okay, you do that. On Untapped, they tend to have a year if it's a beer that is released and it's like a release that causes suspense in people, such as Hop Slam or CBS or KBS, any of those beers that when they get released, it's a big deal. This beer actually does have a date stamp on Untapped. It says 2015. The reason why that's important, I think this is actually, and I don't know, I'm speculating, kind of like Blushing Monk, where they first brewed it and then they didn't brew it for 4 years and now it's released again and it has hype again. This one was brewed in 2015 originally, but it actually says no longer in production. So unless I have a very old bottle, which unfortunately is possible in northern Michigan, but I doubt it, it has been released again. So it's 5.5% ABV, no IBUs listed. It's a milk or a coffee stout base, so it's not intended to be very bitter. This is meant to be a little bit drier actually, but have a lot of fudge and sweet and thickness to it. It's supposed to be a little bit heavier. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It says no longer in production. Overall ratings from people on Tapped are 3.6, which isn't bad at all. That
Not
means
really.
that it's middle of the
Pretty
road, which means that on the average, people either love it or they are kind of about it, but no one's really hating it. Otherwise, it would be in the low 2s or the 2s or the low 3s.
Right.
Okay, so we have 2 beers that are Mackinaw themed. I thought they went well together. Doesn't smell the way I expected at all. It doesn't smell. It smells bitter. It smells like
Oh yeah,
like
you get a
dark
whole lot
fruit.
of bitterness and possibly like cleanser.
I don't get
Like a
cleanser. That's
smell.
kind of odd, but I mean, I do get a bitter, ripened, dark fruit scent from this. It smells like, and this is hard to explain unless you drink stout or dark beers, but it doesn't smell like it's going to be heavy. It doesn't smell like it's going to be thick. It doesn't
Yep.
smell creamy or
agree with that.
anything like that. So I'm kind of interested to see what this is like. It had a lot of activity. I actually lost a little bit of the head when Dana first opened it. The contrast in temperatures between the bottle and the outside caused issues, so it run us over, and that sucks a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not a good beer, and I'm okay with it. I don't know.
Well, we don't.
Not bad. Not what I expected. Not heavy. Not thick. It is thin, actually, in a lot of ways. It is sweet initially, and then it mellows out into being like chocolate water. That sounds really gross.
Pleasant.
But it is pleasant. Yeah, it's pleasant. And you get what I'm saying though?
Yep.
Like, it's almost like it's thick at first, and all of a sudden it's like super thin.
It's got a nice, pleasant taste to it. Sweet on the.
It's sweeter than
at the beginning. The finish is kind of watered down.
Does not remind me of fudge. Fudge is heavy and thick, and like if you get fudge, I'm not a fudgy. I'm not someone who, and you're gonna make some kind of weird joke about me saying that, but that's the term we use here in Michigan. I don't like fudge that much. I do like it. I like to taste all the different flavors, but I'm not a sweet tooth. I'm not a dessert person, really. I'd rather have sweetness in my glass than have sundaes or cakes or anything like that.
It's a nice beer.
But it doesn't remind me of fudge. It's just like the beer I had recently at Highway Brewing that was supposed to be tiramisu, that I only didn't like it because it was claiming to be tiramisu when it was not tiramisu. And I love tiramisu. It's actually one of my favorite desserts of all time. If I have to pick desserts, that's one of them. And that beer was, if it wasn't claiming to be tiramisu, would be a very good stout. Because it claimed to be tiramisu, it's an stout for me. Don't claim to be something if it's not true.
So it was a stout and tiramisu clothing.
It was a stout and tiramisu clothing. Okay, so now that we've talked about the beer,
or tiramisu and stout clothing,
we're gonna talk about a couple of things. The first thing we're gonna talk about is kind of recapping this season if you have missed episodes. Starting with our relaunch. We left YouTube for about 3 months, right?
Yeah, something like that. It was May through August-ish.
I don't remember.
September, somewhere I don't remember.
Well, through May. We ended in May.
We definitely did. We were out of it for 3 or 4 months. Yes.
Yeah. So we launched that we were coming back in September, and then teased in October, and then officially started like really pumping out videos in November. So November 2nd was actually our very first Bonfire Beer review after coming back. And that video was pretty cool. We actually it was really nice. It was a nice sunny day, and the fire was really cool. It was a cooler fall day, but there's no snow. So if you want to see a drastic contrast to what you're seeing right now, that would be a great video to go back on. And that one we did 2 beers by Midland Brewing Company, which we had never really had experience with.
We fell in love with those beers.
We were impressed with them. So oddly enough, we actually just went to Midland Brewing Company in our series,
Trails to Tasters.
Our first episode of Trails to Tasters, which is a new series that we're going to be doing here on Saturdays, kind of in place of Bonfire Beer Review, but not really.
Yep, I think a lot of our content is going to change to that style. During the winter months here, you can ice fish. You can, there's tons to do. Cross country, ice fish, snowshoe, hiking, that sort of thing. But for us, once the snow lifts, it's back out into the woods again, and it becomes at this time of year, when the snow is heavy and starts melting and refreezing, it becomes dangerous to hike as much as we'd like to, because it's slippery.
Even if you have ice spikes, which we don't have a good set yet, but we will get one before we start hitting the trails. This is that lull, like he was saying, where we're not really doing it, even though we want to. We ice fish more so right now, and that's kind of our focus when it's not too cold or too windy.
And let's face it, ice fishing is not exactly exciting content.
Well, I think it can be if we actually catch something.
You mean like the time you caught a fish and
I caught 1 fish. And if you guys have seen that, well, actually, I don't think we've even shared it yet. You're gonna see that next month probably, because we needed to get Bonfire Beer Review kind of finalized before starting up a couple of different types of content. So another episode we want to talk about is episode 3. Do you remember what episode 3 was?
Was that
the one you love the most? You said that's my favorite video
yes.
I've ever done.
Was that Bonfire Deer Review?
Deer review. It was deer hunting.
It was our deer hunting.
Yes, we did. We put on camo war paint, or like
that's my favorite.
Blind paint.
That was so much fun. I got to shoot my bow.
He got to shoot his bow. We set up a target with a little sign on it. Cheers to bagging deers. Really fun episode. We had a really good time talking together about how we wanted to creatively do an intro for deer season. And I think we actually posted it a couple of days before our deer opener for rifle season here in Michigan. That was pretty awesome. We did 2 pumpkin or harvest style ales. I know one was Elysian, but I can't remember the other. I think it was Voodoo Ranger. I think we did a new version of Voodoo Ranger, and then we did Elysian, and it was a pumpkin.
She put makeup
beer.
on me. It was terrible. I didn't.
No, you didn't care about that one. It was the Halloween themed video that you were like, eh.
Yeah,
about.
that's the one.
But that's not a Bonfire Beer Review. That's just a beer review where we did candy also. That wasn't the same thing.
Oh.
We're not
I
talking
got
about that.
confused.
Okay, so episode 5 was a big deal because that was a collaboration with our good friends Matt and Kate from Happy Trails Hiking. We actually did this tasting, we filmed this tasting in May, but posted it in November, I think, which is pretty funny. But we, like I said, we were gone for 3 or 4 months, whatever it was. So, yeah. So we did we were in Missouri at Johnson Shut-In State Park, and we were swapping beers. They gave us Missouri beers, we gave them Michigan beers, and we tried to pick beers we thought that they would individually like, and vice versa. It was a really cool episode, and it was really good commentary. It was kind of cool to have another couple that loves craft beer and nature and outdoors and hiking like we do. They're a perfect double date couple for us because we have so much in common with them. So episode 6 was actually the premiere of Craftmas. We premiered Craftmas via Bonfire Beer Review this year.
That's right,
or
we did.
2018.
That's right, we did. I thought Craftmas was fun.
Craftmas was really fun this year. I'm excited for I keep saying this year, last year.
Yeah.
I think 2019 Craftmas is going to be really fun as well.
Yep.
So episodes, I think 6 through 9 were part of Craftmas. So I don't think we did any of the Craftmas like wrapped beers for Bonfire Beer Review though.
No,
And
I
they
think
weren't wrapped,
most
is
of
what
our
I'm saying.
most of our Craftmas beers was done downstairs.
Yeah. So episode 13 was actually 2 episodes ago, but I don't know that it's exactly 2 consecutive Saturdays ago. This one was actually more recent. We had a beer that was illegal in Kansas. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I hated it.
Yeah, he didn't like it at all. We're not a big fan of the HPA or hemp beer collaborations that are happening. If you happen to be a user of marijuana, now that it is legalized, I don't feel inappropriate saying it. We do not smoke anything. The only thing we smoke is wood and a fire. Otherwise, or fish, which we don't actually do, but we like smoked fish. But yeah,
Smoked salmon would be great.
smoked venison or smoked meat is fine as well. But we don't smoke anything otherwise. So because we don't really like that, the scent being so pungent and the extra bitterness that it added, having the hemp hearts in the beer, was not something we liked at all.
I hated it.
Yeah, it's the minute I opened it, he was very against it. And I'm glad that we tried one. I think it's cool that we tried one during this season, and it was the first HPA ever. So episode 14 was pretty fun. Episode 14
I don't
was
remember
it was last week. It was last week. Lampshade Party by Bells.
Oh, yes.
We did that literally last week.
That's right.
We filmed it last week as well. And it was right before the polar vortex. We actually had Oberon in the episode, our dog, and he's only been in like 2 Bonfire Beer reviews. So this one he actually sat by Dana's side, which was pretty cool. And we did a Lampshade Double IPA by Bells, which was incredible.
That beer rocked.
And then we did the Blushing Monk by Founders, which also was incredible.
That was also an amazing beer.
I loved it. And it was a tart beer, it's a fruit beer, and we don't do a lot of that style.
So much better than Rubaeus.
It was way, way better than Rubaeus. And I don't feel bad saying that because they specifically describe Blushing Monk as Rubaeus' older, cooler, better, stronger, bigger brother. Literally.
Yep.
They say that. So it's kind of funny. But can you kind of explain to them, going forward, what are we going to see on the channel on Saturdays? If it's not Bonfire Beer Review, what is it going to be?
Be doing more hiking, outdoors,
Nature.
I think our Saturday content is going to be exploring Michigan's state parks.
Why is that? Why specifically
because-
Michigan State Parks?
Oh, they don't know.
I'm segueing right
They
now.
don't know.
No, we
Michigan
didn't talk
State
about it.
Parks are having an anniversary. It's kind of a big deal.
It's a centennial
It's
of
a
Michigan State
centennial
Parks.
anniversary of Michigan State Parks. So we have some amazing parks in Michigan.
We have 126 state parks, and that is not including national lake shores, national beaches, national forests, or national parks. We have one in Michigan.
We have
this is just a state park.
Yeah, we just have some amazing. Over in Muskegon, for instance, Hoffmaster State Park is a
Amazing.
great park. Like you walk through these dunes and wilderness and woods, and you're feeling solitude and completely confined to the woods. And you walk for about, I don't know, a mile and a half or so, and then all of a sudden, after walking through the woods, you burst into Lake Michigan. It's the most surreal feeling to hike through the woods and then all of a sudden exit the woods and there's a huge lake shore of Lake Michigan.
Well,
The first time we did that park, I remember
We didn't
being
expect
just
that. We actually didn't know.
blown away.
Yeah, it was still something like every time we had visitors in Grand Rapids when we lived there, it was like something that we're like, we have to take you here. We have to take you here. We're the kind of couple that we strive to find interesting new things anywhere we go. So if someone said, you know, Ohio has nothing fun, I'm gonna go, yeah, I don't think so. I looked into it. Ohio has a lot of caves, and that's pretty fun, I think.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it's
Or
flat.
Indiana, people go, oh, it's just corn, it's boring. Indiana has some of the best state parks that I've been to, honestly. Like, it's pretty remarkable state parks. And I'm not getting into other states, I'm just saying in general, we try to dig and find anything that's interesting. So when it comes to being that kind of personality,
She digs and finds.
well, you do too, though.
I drive along.
No, not necessarily always. We're really passionate about the state of Michigan. We're really passionate about our public lands and our state parks and national parks and everything, really. We love Michigan, and we love living in Michigan. So
For us, we're going to be sending videos out, basically kind of
Showcasing.
surrounding and corresponding with our state parks. We've got some amazing ones. We've got some national parks here. We've got some great stuff, but we're going to focus on Michigan state parks going forward here for the next few months. While we can still get out there and get some weather in.
We won't have a launch date for season 2 of Bonfire Beer Review until the weather shifts and where it's more spring. We have to base it off the weather. So I don't have a day, but as soon as we do, we'll kind of do a teaser, probably a week or two beforehand, and we'll be able to tell you guys when we're coming back with Bonfire Beer Reviews. Beer reviews are not leaving the channel. Wednesday is still a day that we do whatever we want Wednesdays that are usually beer-centric. We do a lot of party games and beer drinking games, and we drink and review beer while we do a variety of things. It could be literally anything. And if you have any requests for things you want us to do, tags, challenges, any style of video, we would love to hear that. Please give that to us in the comments. Otherwise, Saturday is going to be mainly about nature, like Dana said. It's going to be ice fishing, hiking, camping, anything that's nature-based. I'm not saying we're not going to have beer on Saturdays, but it will not be a bonfire beer review, specifically.
All right.
But that's why we chose, Mackinaw area. Mackinaw Island has amazing state park on it. There's also Grand Island, which is in the area. It's also kind of connecting the two states with our state parks that are throughout both areas. And also, Wilderness State Park is in Mackinaw area. And
Wilderness.
We've barely explored it, but we know so much about it that we're obsessed to go back. We can't wait. And
Wilderness is such a wild state park that
people won't even camp there.
I have friends that have said good luck. And
yeah.
I'm like,
wolves, bears,
that sort of thing. I flew the drone there a little bit, a very small amount.
Over the lake, it was beautiful.
I'm gonna do it again. I have not flown the drone enough, and this winter, and it's possible that there may be a new drone entering our family soon. So
possibly, yeah. And also, that's a hard thing too. Right now, we're going through that warming thing with the weather right now for the next couple of days, so we may be able to actually do a drone video soon.
Maybe.
And show Skippy off on the channel. For any new subscribers, we do a lot of drone videography and drone photography. On Dana's end, he is the drone pilot. You can find him at Adventure Wrench. I'll put his handle for Instagram right here. And so we try to do drone video when we do a state park or visit a new trail system or anything like that, a new city sometimes, if allowed, if FAA regulations allow.
Yep,
we do that
absolutely.
as well. During winter, it's kind of hard to fly a drone unless
There's temperature
you have
issues.
What's the
and
one?
stuff like
Inspire, if you have, you can probably
Yeah,
do
if you have
it
an
still.
Inspire, you can do it down to
But that's like a $10,000
3
drone or
degrees
something
or
crazy like
crazy
that,
like
right?
4.
4,000. Okay, so our drone was like $1,500 for the kit that we have. So it's a model that doesn't do well in cold temperatures. Should not fly when there's any rain, even if it's just misting. Snow obviously is a no-no.
Yeah.
So it's just tough. But
it's tough during this time of year. So there'll be more drone content, more hiking content, more nature content. I'm definitely going to have some shots coming up real soon of Higgins Lake in some of the
And it's also a great state park.
Yep, which is also a great state park. We have Houghton Lake State Park. We have Higgins Lake State Park here. We got just tons.
Tons, yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah, and we want to kind of explore ones we haven't been to before. So I'm going to print out a list of Michigan state parks, and I'm going to highlight the ones we've been to, and I'm going to circle the ones we haven't, and we're going to try to kind of get to some of them.
I have a map in my garage of Michigan state parks on a Michigan map. So,
all right,
we can do that.
Well, this is going to continue to be chatty if we start talking about state parks that we love, because we have a lot to say about that. But that is upcoming content. And thank you for joining us for the finale of Bonfire Beer Review.
Thank you for joining us.
We hope that you enjoyed this season, and if you haven't watched all the episodes, I will link the playlist, and I'll also put it in an end card at the end of this video. Otherwise, stay warm and drink good beer.
Cheers.
Cheers. Don't forget to subscribe here and watch more of our videos, like this Bonfire Beer Review playlist right here. Cheers, everyone. See you on the next one.